It's a long old time in a hard rock jail. It's a long old time gone by.
Hey, this is James Lynch from Dropkick Murphys, and this is Premier Guitar's Big Five. What is my favorite guitar? When it comes to work, as much as you can consider this work, when I'm out with the band, I play Les Paul standards. They're all pretty much the same thing. Early 80s, 80, 81. It's a workhorse, does everything it's supposed to do. This was actually my number 2 in the US, which became the number 1 in Europe, which we lovingly refer to as old number 7. I've got 3 of these and then a custom for when I'm feeling classy. Pretty much consistency is key out here, and that's the staple when it comes to the band. All 3 of the Les Pauls are early 80s. The first one, someone else actually bought for me, and I started using it. And I'm such a creature of habit when it comes to being on the road that once I got used to that first one, I said, just find me. I didn't want to grab something else as a backup guitar that felt any different than it. So we just started stockpiling them. And so we essentially have 3 of the exact same guitar, just different levels of wear. It's pretty obvious which one's the favorite and which one's the latest purchase. My first few years in this band, I was dragging around this Epiphone Les Paul Bird's Eye that I loved. I had been on the road using it for years, and it just started going to pieces, and we were fixing it constantly, trying to keep it going. And I insisted. I was one of those guys who said, this is my guitar and I'm not playing anything else. I don't care what anyone says. I only need the one. And it got to the point that it was too much work to keep it going. And someone literally handed me my first one of these black 80s Les Pauls and said, let's try using this. And I threw a fit about it for about a week. And then I finally got comfortable with it. And then once I got comfortable with it, it was, okay, if this is what we're going to use, this is what we're going to use. And this just became the one. We used Seymour Duncan JBs in all of them. We've been through a few different pickups, but that's where we're at these days. I wish I had the number 1. There's actually a fun little feature about it. I stayed on a chord a lot longer than everyone else in the band, just because, once again, I don't like to change things. And that was something that was getting damaged on a pretty regular basis. And we actually removed one of the knobs and added an input jack there, and then put a jack on the knob so you can't tell that it's there. So in the event that something went wrong with the one on the bottom, we could just pull the knob and plug it in through the front. And we're actually talking about doing that with the rest of them now too, just because it's like cool secret agent shit. When left to my own devices, if you just sent me out in the world and said, come back with a guitar, I have an affinity for weird old hollow bodies that someone has bolted some kind of pickup to and made electric. I just find them, and they're irresistible. They're hanging around all over my house. I don't know what it is. But my absolute favorite guitar, the favorite guitar on the planet, is a red 1976 Telecaster, which when I was 6 years old, I think, I was at rehearsal with my dad watching his band play. And it was the first time I saw an instrument and it lit something up in me, and I wanted to get my hands on it. I was telling this story to my uncle, who was also in the band 25 years later, and he said, what if I told you that I have that guitar? He had bought it off the guy who was playing it when I saw it, and now I've had it back in my hands. Hopefully someday it's going to be mine, but it's a pretty amazing thing to like have this memory and then have been able to get my hands on the actual guitar. This thing totally unaffected by life. It was just something that lit up something in me as a kid that made me want to play, and there's some magic there that I still really appreciate. What is my Desert Island album? My first and most honest answer is, if I had a chance at all that beautiful silence, I don't think I would want to disturb it with anything else if I had the opportunity to be stranded on a desert island. But if you put a gun to my head and made me pick something, I'd have to, same as that first guitar that I saw, I've got to go back. I've got to defer to my untainted early days when something would just move me. And the first music that I heard that lit something up in me was Chuck Berry's Great 28. I would sit and be hypnotized by that yellow album cover with the Chess Records logo on it, and something about that music just brought me to life, and I would put it on headphones and fall asleep to it on the living room floor. And it's something that still, I can hear it in every other kind of music that I love, and still one of my absolute favorites. I feel like it's the beginning and end of everything else that I love. And I think I'd be just fine if that was the only thing that I had. My biggest guitar culture pet peeve, I think the amount that you can be troubled by something is directly related to how much you let yourself be involved in it. I don't do a lot of talking about guitars or guitar shopping, or I'm less a guitar player, more a guy who plays the guitar. The culture isn't something that infects my daily life, really. But I was actually discussing this with my tech earlier today, and it's funny, guitar playing, being a musician, the instrument that you use is such a subjective thing that it baffles me that people can have such definitive ideas about how things should be or what you need or what you should use. And I think more than anything, especially for new players, it should be made known that no one guitar, no piece of equipment is going to make you any better of a player or allow you to express yourself any better. And I wish more people were saying you can get it done on anything you got your hands on. That's always been my idea about things. What guitar hero of mine might surprise or shock fans of my band? I don't have a lot of guitar heroes. My playing really began and ended learning how to play with my dad. You know, he taught me things like there is no wrong note, make it the right, make it sound how you want it to sound. And that's always been the way I've gone about things. I've tried to really just figure it out on my own, and that's something that he instilled in me. What's my secret weapon? I gotta go back to my dad again. Another shout out to Pat Lynch, my guitar hero, and the one who introduced me to the Chuck Berry, and the one who brought me to practice when I saw that red guitar. He told me very plainly, it doesn't matter if you know what you're doing, as long as it looks like you know what you're doing. And I have literally made a career out of it. That is the best advice I ever got. I can apply to the guitar or just about anything else in life. That, without question, is my secret weapon.
It wasn't long till I seen him again. He run away, left her behind.